Hello everyone, it's Anna here. In today's video, I'm going to talk about starting with macrame. But before I dive in, I just want to say huge thank you to everyone for supporting me, for subscribing and liking the videos, and mostly for commenting, because I love hearing that you guys are getting inspired by the projects, that my advice helped you. This is why I have this channel and why I do all of this. So thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it. And now to the topic of today's video. So it's for all those of you that are just starting, like you haven't done your first project yet, you're just discovering the world of macrame. And I want to talk about the supplies you need, the skills you need to learn, and then I want to share a little bit of my own journey when I was starting with macrame. So first, in terms of the supplies, there is really only one thing that you need to buy to be able to do macrame, and that is rope. Now, I know that this can be quite daunting because there is lots of options to choose from. So I've done a video on how to choose the right cord or the right rope for your project. So check that out. There is a link somewhere at the top there. That should help you choose which rope you should buy for that first project. The one other thing which you will definitely need is scissors, but I am pretty sure all of you guys have scissors at home. They're good to go as long as you can cut the rope with them. You can use whatever you have at home. And then the one last thing which you will need for 95% of the projects that you're going to make is something to hang the rope on. Whether that's a dowel rod or a piece of driftwood for a wall hanging, or some sort of a ring for a plant hanger, a keychain, that key ring for a keychain, or something that will hold the rope that you're going to use. So when you're starting, I think it is pretty easy to get those supplies. I mean, yes, the rope can get a little bit more expensive, but if you just want to try it out on one project, it's gonna cost you a couple euros or a couple dollars. So I think that's not that big of an investment. Now, if you have already done a couple projects and you know that you like macrame, there's definitely a couple tools that at least I use on almost every single project that make it a lot easier to do them, a lot more enjoyable and faster. And I am preparing a video about investing in some other tools as well. So that's coming up in the next few weeks. So those were the supplies that you need. Now, in terms of the skills, I think the number one thing that you need to have is patience. And I'm saying patience because this is a new skill that you would be learning. And just like with any other skill, it is very likely that in the learning process, you're going to make mistakes. Meaning you might do some knots wrong, or you will forget to add some, and then you will realize just down the road that there is something missing in the piece. And so you will need to unravel to correct those mistakes. And then I think it is also important that you are quite meticulous, I think is the word, meaning you really pay attention to the way that you are making the knots. Because I think, and this might be just my own opinion, but I do think that the more symmetrical you make the knots, the better the piece looks. Whatever the project is, it doesn't matter. It looks better when all of the knots are the same size, the gaps in between them are the same, there are the same angles. If you're doing like a vertical double half hitch or something, it just looks better when they are the same. Which also, the second part is, I think, connected to the patience. So I think I'm mentioning those two just to kind of mentally prepare yourself to be patient and to take your time to learn this well. And by the way, I don't mean that I'm myself really good at those two things. I definitely get frustrated sometimes, and I definitely see when my piece is not really symmetrical, and it really bothers me, but I am definitely trying to get better at both of those things. And so overall, I think, and what I always tell people is, I think learning macrame is pretty easy as long as you are at least a little bit patient and you are, like I said, being meticulous, meaning you're not look good in the end result. Okay, so those were the supplies and the skills that you need. Now, in terms of what should be the first project that you're going to try, again, my own personal opinion and suggestion is that you start with something smaller, like a smaller wall hanging or maybe a keychain or something like that. I personally started with this. So this was the very first macrame piece that I made. And why I'm suggesting something smaller is just so that you don't have to spend, right at the beginning, 10 hours doing something really big and really complicated, and you just ease into it. I think it would also be helpful if in your first project, you try to learn, or you're using the basic knots, meaning the lark's head knot here, then the square knot, and then the double half hitch. Those three are the basic macrame knots that you should learn in the beginning. I would also suggest that you start with either like a bigger or a medium size of the rope. So something like 5 millimeters, something like this. Don't go too small, because I think the smaller it gets, the more difficult it is to tie the knots. And so it is good if you learn the knots first on like that medium size cord before going into something much smaller for like earrings or something really small. Now, I also think that if you see that you like it and you're quite good at it, you're not getting frustrated and you're learning the knots pretty fast, you can go much bigger very fast as well. This was the second piece I made. So after that first one, after I saw that I really enjoy that, this was already my second project. So a pretty big, much more complex project, and it was fine. I didn't really struggle and I still enjoyed it. So I think a lot of you, especially like if you have done different crafts before, you know that you enjoy this kind of, working with your hands, I think you can learn and progress really fast. Now, obviously, both of those two projects that I made and most of the content that I create for this channel is wall hangings. But there is just so much more that you can explore in the world of macrame. So don't limit yourself to those. And even within, the wall hangings, there's so many different styles that you can go for, the more boho looking or more modern, or you go to much smaller projects, the keychains, the earrings, or the so popular plant hangers, or fashion and macrame is getting so popular. I'm seeing so many bags out of macrame, and even clothes. Like, it's incredible how many things there are that you can make out of macrame. So just go and explore, open Pinterest, open Instagram, and search for different macrame projects and see what catches your attention. And for me, my macrame journey, you saw those first two projects. I made those for my own home, just as decoration, but then friends started reaching out to me and asking me to create some pieces for them. So I also started thinking of macrame as a business. And at first I thought that would be my thing, but then what I soon realized is I just love having my own freedom and being able to just explore all of like the different creative ideas that I have, because the way my mind works, like as soon as I see a new color or maybe like a pattern there, all of a sudden I get this idea in my head and I can't wait to, make that piece, make that project. And it may not be something that somebody wants to buy. It's just something that I have in my mind and I really want to create it and see what it looks like in real life. And so soon I realized that having a YouTube channel where I would be able to make all of these creations and maybe inspire somebody else is really the way to go for me. And for you, it might be very different. For you, you might, it just might be a hobby and that's it. The one thing I would say where it's really useful is when it comes to gifts and presents, because there are already so many people where I have made a macrame piece for them as a Christmas present, a birthday present, or, just whatever kind of present, because it is that kind of DIY gift that actually looks good and people use it, whether it's a wall hanging that they just hang on a wall somewhere, or it's, a keychain or some earrings. It's just something that I find is a really good idea for a gift. Or you might turn it into a business. It's just this style is getting so popular these days for home decor, for wedding decor as well. So good luck on that journey too. So whatever path it is for you, I hope this video again inspired you and gave you some ideas on where you can start, hopefully encouraged you if you haven't done your first project yet. If you would have any questions because you're not sure about something when it comes to macrame, put them down in the comments. I'm always trying to answer them as soon as possible as well and give you as much advice as I can so that it can really help you, because I think it is a great hobby to have. So I'm here for you. And that was it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next project video. Bye.